Obviously, I lost a bet. This is an Eli Manning jersey. He's the quarterback of a football team called the New York Giants. They beat my team, the New England Patriots, in the Super Bowl, and I thereby lost a bet. It kind of seems like a cruel twist of fate that we lost the game, so I have to wear this on TV right now. But my secret boyfriend, Aaron Hernandez, did score a touchdown in the game, so I also have to buy everybody on set a beer. So I have to lose the bet in both directions. But hey, that's how it goes. It's fine. Here in New York City today, they held a ticker tape parade, the Giants floating down the Canyon of Heroes on a river made of several million tons of confetti. There were marching bands and people on lunch hour and parents who let their kids play hooky for this historic occasion. In the crowd near City Hall, producer Laura Conaway found the Willis family. They had taken the subway in from Brooklyn with a big picture of Staff Sergeant Daniel Willis. Sergeant Willis is now serving in Afghanistan after finishing a tour serving in Iraq. His mom, Glenda Willis, told us that another child of hers, a daughter, served 3 tours in Iraq and is now stationed in Germany. But Miss Willis had come to the Giants parade for her son, for Daniel, a Giants fan who celebrated like mad when his team won the Super Bowl in 2008 and who I think would have given anything to himself be in New York today.
I promised him before we won the first one, I said, when we win the Super Bowl, I'll take your picture and go down Manhattan just to the parade so that you can be there, a part of it. Wow. And I know he's happy now and he's smiling. He loves this.
We know for a fact that he loves this, even without his mom telling us, because if you look back at the old coverage of the last Giants championship in 2008, you will find a Danielle Willis of Brooklyn celebrating then, too, telling the paper, quote, I don't know all the words in the dictionary, but I don't think Webster has a word to describe how I feel. It's indescribable. We also know this from his post in Afghanistan. He sent this before the game. Look.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Staff Sergeant Danielle Willis from Task Force Wolfpack. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, and I just want to say hi to my family back in Brooklyn and go Big Blue.
From Afghanistan. After all that, Staff Sergeant Willis was there today, if only as a picture on his mom's poster downtown. You cannot throw a ticker tape parade in New York City now without raising the question of when the city will welcome home another group of heroes, the veterans of the war in Iraq, like Danielle Willis. In 1991, New York threw a parade for veterans of America's first war in Iraq, the Gulf War. The old footage looks remarkably like the Giants ride through the Canyon of Heroes today, only with, look at this, line after line of marching troops. We've heard talk of parades in other cities for veterans of our second war in Iraq, but so far, only the mighty, mighty city of St. Louis has thrown one. It started with 2 ordinary guys on a Facebook page. It did not start off as what you might call an official response, but the whole city ended up getting behind it. They turned out 100,000 people. The official response in New York has been that now is too soon. With troops like Sergeant Willis back from Iraq but still serving in Afghanistan, not now, maybe later. Instead, the White House is planning a gala dinner for a few hundred veterans to take place in a few weeks. Before the Super Bowl, a couple of members of Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, New Yorkers, put out this video calling for not just a welcome home parade, but also a national day of action to help the troops coming back find help if they need it. Today, we asked Glenda Willis, a mom, again, whose kids have logged 4 tours of combat duty, one of them still at war. We asked her today about a ticker tape parade for the troops.
Why do you think there has not been a parade for veterans coming home from Iraq?
I think we don't support the veterans as they should be supported. We need to show a little more appreciation and a little more compassion for them, for the job that they do.
A little more appreciation, a little more compassion. I know this issue of parades to mark the end of the Iraq War is one on which reasonable people can disagree. I also know that this issue is not going away. Joining us now exclusively for the interview tonight is New York City Council Speaker Christine Quinn, who supports a citywide welcome home for the troops coming home for Iraq. Speaker Quinn, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
While watching the parade for the Giants today, could you also picture a New York celebration for the war?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and I was sitting on this stage out in front of City Hall today, and you give each one of the Giants a key to City Hall. I was thinking, you know, how will we do this when we do it for the veterans of the Iraqi war?
It's a million veterans, right?
Right,
yeah.
Right. And, you know, I was thinking we could do one for each member of the service. Then I thought we should have a family who lost a son or a daughter also from each member of the service come up. But the point is there's a way to do it. And there's a way to make sure these men and women know our gratitude and also know that we're not just grateful. We're really happy they're back. And we want to make it easy as possible for them to transition back into city life. Now, The way we say we're grateful or we're thrilled or we're happy in New York is with a parade in the Canyons of Heroes. If there's other ways the veterans think we should do it, I'm open to hearing that. But what I want is to make sure this moment doesn't pass us by. Because if we wait too long, it will pass us by. And then the thank you will seem late and belated, like, the birthday card you got from your aunt who forgot. It just doesn't mean as much. Now, look, I don't think a parade's enough. I think what the folks in Iowa have said about a national call to action also needs to be heard. A parade's great, but the really, really best way we can say thank you is to make sure when our veterans come back that they can get work, that we help them transition their military experience to civilian resumes and civilian jobs. So it has to be all of it together. But, a parade, a citywide celebration is a great way to start.
What do you think of the objection that it's somehow inappropriate to mark the end of the Iraq war, given that the Afghanistan war is still going on, and especially given that so many of the people who fought in Iraq are also fighting in Afghanistan?
I would be compelled by that if veterans were saying that.
Yeah.
If Iowa and other people who are veterans speaking for themselves said that, I'm not a veteran. I would say, okay. But they are saying they want this. They are saying this would be helpful. So you know what? Let's do an immediate one as it relates to Iraq. And God willing, very, very soon, let's do one for Afghanistan, because that's what the vets are telling us. And if you look back in history, when we've ignored their voices about what they needed, what they were feeling, Vietnam or whatever, whenever else, we've made mistakes.
In terms of how this works in New York City. Obviously, every city across the country that has thought about it has somebody in that city who's considering it. What happened in St. Louis touched a lot of nerves.
Yep.
But there's something special about New York, because New York is not the capital of the country, but it has a role in welcoming and in marking events like no other has.
And when you look at like the history, the end of World War II, where are those iconic pictures? Men and women kissing in New York City. Yeah. There's one Canyon of Heroes in the whole world.
So what needs to happen in order for this to come true in New York?
For an official New York City parade up the Canyon of Heroes, it really needs to be called by the mayor of the city of New York.
So far, he's resisting the idea.
He is. And, I feel badly for the mayor in the sense that he checked with the Pentagon and said to the Department of Defense, can we do this? And what Mayor Bloomberg's office heard back from them was, no, we don't want cities to do that. That position on the part of the Pentagon or DOD puts mayors in a tough spot, because do you disregard what the federal government has said to you? So I really think what needs to happen is the federal government or the Pentagon needs to change their position and make it okay for cities, if they want to do this, And I think, really, really, I believe very strongly if Mayor Bloomberg got a green light, we would have a parade as quickly as we had this one.
Right now, the mayor's sort of in the position of choosing between the generals and the grunts, right?
Exactly.
The veterans organizations asking. It's a tough position to be in.
It is. And I think if you have to make a choice, we need to go with the veterans, who are in this case speaking for themselves. But I really do think the Pentagon needs to kind of change it to a green light so there isn't that difficult position.
New York City Council Speaker Christine Quinn, I can't believe you've never been here before.
Thank you
so much for being here. Will you come back?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Even if you're not in Giants paraphernalia.
I will never be in Giants paraphernalia again. I can assure you of that.
There could be another Super Bowl win. I'm just saying.
I can assure you of that. I can assure you. Please keep us apprised as this goes. We take a real special interest in this as a show, and I'd love to follow this.
And thank you for doing that. I know it means a lot to the veterans that you've taken this on so seriously. So thank you.
I appreciate it. All right. In just a minute, we have a winner in one of the non-binding Republican contests tonight. For what it's worth, we have a non-binding winner. That's coming right up, and I'm taking this off.